and welcome to the Practice and Action Seminar Series. This series is brought to you by the Office of Public Health Practice and the UAB Public Health Student Association. Today's seminar is Creating Dynamic Green Spaces for Future Generations. Today's speaker is Libba Vaughan. Ms. Vaughan is the Executive Director at the Freshwater Land Trust. The Freshwater Land Trust conserves and cares for land in central Alabama with a focus on conservation projects that enhance water quality in our rivers and streams. Please give a warm welcome to Ms. Libba Vaughan.
I am Libba Vaughan. I'm the Executive Director of the Freshwater Land Trust, and we are a land trust. And a land trust, if you did any research on land trusts, there are probably, I would say, 1,500 accredited land trusts across the United States. And we are able to work with landowners and municipalities to conserve land for permanent protection. And the Freshwater Land Trust, we're a pretty unique organization in Birmingham. We work in central Alabama. We were started in 1996. And this is our mission statement, which really looks, to me, this really explains what we do, but it's not very exciting. So I'm going to get you more excited about the work we're doing. But we have protected over 12,000 acres in central Alabama, and we've created some spaces that I hope that you know well. And I'll talk about those. And I want to show you a couple of those places. And then I'm going to talk more about the impact that they have on you and our community. This is a picture of, this is a place that we help protect. This is a very wild picture of Red Mountain Park. How many people have been to Red Mountain Park? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's not far from here, and I hope you all, I'm going to tell you so many places to go enjoy, so I hope you'll take note of these. But Red Mountain Park is one of our projects, and we helped get the largest philanthropic donation from U.S. Steel, who owned that property ever. It is still to this day their largest philanthropic contribution, and we had to raise $7 million to purchase it at a discounted deal, and we were able to do that through a lot of city and county and federal and state partners, and we're really proud of that project. It's a separate nonprofit today. It was always meant to kind of be on its own. And we're really proud of that, and I hope that you'll all get a chance to go, make a chance to go see that. And if you know anything, how many of you are from Birmingham or from central Alabama? Oh, not many. That's so exciting. Okay, well, I'm going to assume some of you know this history and some of you don't, and I'll just assume that you don't. So if I offend you with my basic level of what I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry. But Birmingham is on the map because of our iron ore, right? Birmingham became a city because the fact that Red Mountain, which is right behind you, which is the ridge between UAB and the southern suburbs, is full of iron ore. And back in the 1870s, people mined that iron ore to make steel. Because here we have three things that are used in steel making. Do you know what those are? Limestone. My goodness. Can you say that again? That's right. Oh, we've got some experts in here, so good. So you can ask them more about how steel is made. But Birmingham is one of the few places where all three of those are found in the same location. So Red Mountain Park was where a lot of those iron ore mines were, and to me it's the industrial birthplace of Birmingham. So it's real exciting. And we're lucky that Birmingham has that history from a land trust perspective, because there are a lot of old mineral railroads that ran, and one of them I'm going to tell you a little bit about that is right behind you up on Red Mountain, underneath Vulcan Park and Museum, that today we're able to turn those into parks and trails. And Red Mountain Park was one of those. It was a mine land that is now a beautiful public park. And we're very proud of that. This picture is from the Turkey Creek Nature Preserve in Pinson. How many of you are familiar with that place? Right off of Highway 79. Oh, wonderful. It is such a beautiful place. I wish I'd included a picture of the Turkey Creek Falls. It is literally 2 minutes off Highway 79 in Pinson, and it is incredibly beautiful. And about 15 years ago, we packaged up almost 500 acres of land from multiple landowners, and we sold it to our terrific state land trust, which is called Forever Wild. And Forever Wild is a state land trust that's funded from offshore oil and gas drilling. and they are able to purchase lands from private landowners for conservation use. And so we're a great partner with them, and we really value Forever Wild, and we advocate for a number of land conservation issues, and the protection of Forever Wild is probably at the top of our list. There was a bill in the House this year that didn't make it out, but we're always watching that every legislative season to make sure that Forever Wild stays intact, so that it can be here to purchase more land for all of us to use. We used some of the funds that we recovered in that sale to purchase a home that's on the site that's now used as an educational center that Birmingham Southern runs. And it's called the, there's not a name for it, but the Southern Environmental Center at Birmingham Southern runs and manages that home. And they have a terrific director named Charles Yeager, who you will meet when you go out there. And we're really proud of that. And impressively, Birmingham and Greater Birmingham is home to endangered species that are located less from a mile of this campus. And that preserve is home to 3 endangered species of fish: the vermilion, the watercress, and the rush darters. And they're tiny little fish that are beautifully colored. And we have some pictures of those on our website that you can go look at. And 2 of those are found nowhere else in the world except Jefferson County. So we're really proud in our role in helping to protect those fish for the future. Okay, this place, where do you think you might be when you see this picture? The Cahaba, good guess. What else? You may have another guess. Have you heard of Village Creek? Do you know Village Creek? This is Village Creek Canyon. This is on the lower stretches of Village Creek, and it is incredibly gorgeous. It's in Jefferson County, and this place is home to what we think is the southernmost stand of eastern hemlock trees. And you know, when you go to the Appalachian Mountains, you've likely seen the devastation that hemlocks have experienced due to a tiny little insect called the woolly adelgid. I think it's the woolly adelgid, an adelgid species. These trees have not experienced that, and we want to do a genetic study on those to see if they are naturally resistant to that insect. And so if any of you, if there are any plant biologists in this room, love to talk to you about that. So we're excited about that. And this particular place is not open to the public, but we do guided hikes here. And I encourage you, when we do that again, if you get a chance to go with us, we would love to show it to you, because you won't think you're in the mountains of somewhere far away. And it's right here in Jefferson County. All right, this next, somebody mentioned the Cahaba a minute ago, and this is from the Cahaba. This is property that the Freshwater Land Trust protected along the Cahaba here in Jefferson County. And you all probably know it's one of the most important rivers in the world because of its biodiversity, because of the number of plant and animal species that live there. As Lisa mentioned, some of my favorites are the freckle-belly mad tom and the cylindrical liaplax and the fawn-foot mussel. Isn't that pretty? The fawn-foot mussel. I just love that. And the 3-horned warty back, which I should have a picture of and I don't, because it's pretty spectacular. And you know, Alabama native E.O. Wilson, the world-famous biologist that's at Harvard, is from the Mobile area. And he calls the Cahaba River an aquatic treasure house. And so we work in the Cahaba River watershed to preserve land to help protect its water quality, because you probably know that land along rivers and streams help filter rainwater and stormwater before it enters the river. And where do you get your drinking water? Do you know? Lake Purdy, right? Do you know what watershed that's in? The Cahaba watershed. So, you know, undeveloped lands help protect water quality because it filters that water before it goes into the stream. Another place that we have worked with a city in Jefferson County, in Clay, the town of Clay in northeastern Jefferson County. This is Lake Cosby, and there's a beautiful trail around Lake Cosby. Have any of you been there? No, it's beautiful. You have, Mina. I'm so glad. It's gorgeous. The Land Trust has a conservation easement on this property, and a conservation easement is something. It's like if you think of a parcel of land as a bundle of rights, right? You can give away certain rights to other people to your land, and we look for donations of conservation easements, which means that you get to still own and manage your land, but you can't develop it in certain ways. And so we have a conservation easement, which means that the City of Clay has agreed to keep this in a natural state. So they can't sell it for development. They can certainly sell it, but it can never be developed because the conservation easement goes with that property, right? And so we work with a lot of individual landowners who own family farms, who own forests, and they donate conservation easements to us, which helps protect the land in perpetuity, which means forever. And our role in that is to manage that land, to make sure that the terms of that easement are agreed to and kept up year after year. So we have to go visit these sites every year and report on, what they look like and how they're, if any of the easement terms have been violated. And it's a really great tool for landowners who want to protect their land, who can't sell it maybe, or who don't want to sell it, who want to keep owning it, but want to make sure it's protected. And so the City of Clay did that with us. So like Lake Cosby, many of our properties are open to public access, but some are really difficult to get to. This is Jemison Trail in Mountain Brook. I hope some of you have been on this trail. And it connects up to the Lakeshore Greenway in Homewood, which is that really well-used trail that runs in front of Brookwood Mall that you will always see people on when you drive by. You can see it from Lakeshore. We did not create these trails, but they were in existence. And two of the earliest trails in our region. And about 10 years ago, we started asking ourselves, how can we, what if we can connect trails like Jemison and like Lakeshore to other trails and add sidewalks and bike lanes here in the city center and all across the county to create an interconnected system of trails where people could walk or bike or run to where they wanted to go instead of having to use a car. Now, it's, you guys know that's not a novel idea, but here, that's not something that a lot of us thought about 15, 20 years ago. We were inspired by visits to Minneapolis and St. Paul, where I used to live, and Greenville, South Carolina, and Atlanta's Beltline. So why couldn't Birmingham have systems like that? So we looked for opportunities and partners, and we found the Jefferson County Department of Health, and I know you're all probably really familiar with our Jefferson County Department of Health. And in 2006, they came up with a community health improvement plan called CHIP. Some of you teachers may remember this, with several strategic issues, two of which were healthy children and youth and livable communities. And so we joined this Health Action Partnership, a group of over 80 agencies, local agencies, who work together to focus on community health goals. And the biggest win is that we were able to win some CDC grants totaling over $13 million to address obesity and tobacco use. We were able to use some of this money to do a plan called Our 1 Mile. And it's a countywide trail system master plan. And so we talked to over 3,000 Jefferson County residents, and we asked them, where do you want your 1 mile to be? Where do you want to be able to go? So if you left here, this building, where would you want to walk or bike safely to your next class, to your house, to church, to work? Where was it? And so we went around the county with big maps. I mean, just like you think, with big maps and red pens, and people literally drew lines on maps of where they wanted to go. And we compiled all that into what was called the Our 1 Mile Master Plan. And it's really exciting to do that process. And we also asked them, what are the top 3 segments that you want to see created? And I'm going to tell you about the top segment in just a minute on that. So the result of that is this Our 1 Mile, and I think Our 1 Mile is such a great way to describe this plan. It's now called the Red Rock Ridge and Valley Master Plan. We call it the Red Rock Trail System. And this is a conceptual plan of that. But it's a connected system of trails, greenways, bike lanes, and sidewalks to make recreational facilities available to every county resident, regardless of where they live or their income or their ability. And we had our first big win in 2013 in terms of trail creation with the Tiger Grant that we helped the city of Birmingham get. It's federal funding to build trails and street improvements, and especially for those that were hit hard in the 2011 tornadoes. And this has been an incredible boost first boost to our Red Rock Trail system. This funding helped put, I'm going to leave it right here for a second. It helped put 29 miles of trail on the ground, and there are more trails from that money that still exist that are being worked on. We're so close to another segment. Hopefully this week we'll be able to launch construction on another segment using this money. But it included the extension of the Civil Rights Trail from downtown to Smithfield in the East Thomas and Enon Ridge neighborhoods, which you can see Enon Ridge on that map. That was all from Tiger federal funding. And those are incredible trails that you should check out. And so this map shows some of the trails created and some still in progress. One of the ones I want to point out to you, here is Red Mountain Park, right? Here's UAB, here's Red Mountain Park. This trail right here is the Higher Line Trail. That was the old elevated railway that ran from Red Mountain Park, what is now Red Mountain Park, to the furnaces in Inslee and Fairfield. And you know, if you've been to New York, if you've heard about that Higher Line that they have up there that is incredibly beautiful, Lisa, I bet you've been on it. It's in Chelsea, that's right, the Chelsea High Line. We've got one of those. Now, it may not be as beautifully landscaped and designed as that trail, but it is an elevated rail line. And you get to walk over Valley Creek, and it goes right by Jackson Olin High School, I think. And it's incredible. Take your bike, if you have kids in a stroller, if you've got rollerblades, it's an incredible trail. And that trail was also helped by this Tiger funding. We have, with this system, we have more places to exercise and more alternatives to transportation. And the third is the one I wanted to focus on a little bit more because of you being public health students. Green spaces, trails and parks, and land conservation is good for Greater Birmingham. And it helps our community be more vibrant. It impacts our economic, developers and apartment buildings and hotels and restaurants. They want to be where foot traffic is. And you get foot traffic through parks and trails. How many of you go to Railroad Park and hang out there? And how many have you walked down to the Rotary Trail from there and wandered through there? I hope you do. You can walk to it from here. Incredible. You've seen the economic impact, the hotels, the Regions Park that's right there. It's been a really important way for, I think, people in Birmingham and developers to see what green space can do for a city. And I'm so proud of the movement towards the understanding that parks and trails they're good for health, and they're also good for economic reasons. So I stole this slide, this and the next slide, from Dr. Mark Wilson at the Health Department. He's a champion of trails. He's a great partner to us. And his progressive leadership there is incredibly impactful in a community that suffers from some of what? Highest obesity, hypertension, you know this, you guys know this much better than I do, but chronic disease. And he is really interested in more trail development, he in the County Department of Health. And research tells us that there are multiple health benefits of regular outdoor physical activity, right? These are some of them that we've compiled from him and other sources. And that connected neighborhoods and trails are good for all of us. Is any of this news to you? You know, this is old stuff here. See, and you guys get it. But a lot of it's interesting for me personally. When I talk to our corporate partners, we actually had Dr. Wilson speak at our corporate event last December, and they were blown away by this information. You know, this is your language. This is not everybody's language. And it really struck me in that room how important that is for us, you know, as even community members, to talk to people who are not in this world about the impacts of green space on public health. And I think about that all the time. And I'm sure you guys have heard Dr. Wilson and heard people from the health department, but they have never heard him. And they're like, who is this guy? He is incredible. So, you know, get out of your, talk to people who don't know about what you do. One of the things that we've done, we actually, you've been on the Rotary Trail, I hope. This is a sign that you've seen just down the street, but we helped finance this trail with some funding that we had available with the Downtown Rotary Club. And we're really proud of this because you all, and this is actually some UAB folks. These were some of these two ladies were our AmeriCorps VISTA members in the Office of Service Learning and Undergraduate Research where I used to work. And so we had this photo shoot one day on the Rotary Trail because we needed some pictures of, some winter pictures of the trail to show people. And we're seeing the economic impact of this corridor, and we're seeing people come to Birmingham to enjoy it. And that's really, really great for us. Walkable communities are what people want, and a 2014 study, let me show you this first. This study by the Urban Land Institute. How many of you guys want to live in a place where you have to have a car? Where you must have a car to get around? Yeah. Nobody, I mean, who really, wouldn't you love to not have a car? I would personally love that. We found that from this study that a little over half of Americans would like to live in a place where they don't need to use a car very often. I would think that would be higher, but still important. And we also found, you know, maybe a slightly higher percentage of millennials prefer living somewhere where they don't have to use a car, which makes sense. One thing that I think is really important here to note is that our Convention and Visitor Bureau's new Greater Birmingham Destination Master Plan, so the group that's tasked with making sure that people have reasons to come to Greater Birmingham, one of their top ideas is to pursue more opportunities for outdoor recreational activities, and that our current network of paths and other outdoor experiences should be aggressively developed. And so I'm glad that that's being recognized on a tourism level for the Red Rock system. Another report that I hope that you've heard about, and I don't know if this has hit your public health kind of radar or curriculum, but it's a study that was done last, a report that was prepared by the Public Affairs Resource Council of Alabama with the Community Foundation. It's called Together We Can. And it's charting a course for cooperation. You may have heard that our governments, unlike Nashville and unlike some other southern cities, we don't have a cooperative system of metropolitan governments, and that's hindered a lot of our progress. And this study was to look at examples of regional cooperation. And one of the things that they found that our community's efforts to expand green spaces has been a positive. And I really appreciate the Freshwater Land Trust role in that, how we can use this as an example for other ways to cooperate regionally, because our community has done a pretty good job working with, between municipalities on green space creation. And I tell people, I don't know how we're going to fix that. I honestly don't have an answer to that. But I do know that the Land Trust takes the point that while we're all trying to figure that out, we're going to continue building out this Red Rock Trail system and conserving land because we know that it's good for us, and we've been pretty successful so far despite those issues, and so that's very important to us. We've also had, now it's funny, if I had time I would have updated these pictures today because we've had some great luck with civic organizations here in Birmingham creating trails. You know about Rotary Trail. That's named because the Downtown Rotary Club raised, now I don't know the full amount of money that they raised to build out that trail, and that was a city civic partnership, but they raised a ton of money to build that trail. Yesterday, so this was from May of 2017, last year, the Kiwanis Club of downtown Birmingham broke ground on a project at Vulcan Park and Museum. They're rebuilding the plaza, the old WPA plaza that was beneath Vulcan, the Vulcan statue, right up on Richard Arrington. You guys have probably driven by it, if you're going up the mountain over to Homewood. They rebuilt that plaza. They are putting a light show on Vulcan, like there's one on Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The same guy that did those is doing the one on Vulcan. And the part that we are most excited about is the extension of the Vulcan Trail that runs, you've been on it, good, that runs from right beneath Vulcan about halfway past the club. If you know where the club is on the mountain, that very distinctive looking building. Historically it stopped there, but yesterday, literally yesterday, it opened to the public. And we were there all day yesterday, had a big ribbon cutting. If you look for it, I hope you look for it on social media and AL.com, you'll see it. But now it extends from Vulcan Park all the way to Green Springs Highway. That was the one segment that was named in our 2011 master plan of the #1 segment people wanted to see happen, because that's a key connector. That's the central backbone of this 750-mile Red Rock Trail system. We're riding high from that, and I really want you all to go up there and walk it. It's pretty incredible. And that is, it follows the old Birmingham Mineral Railroad route. So there was a railroad that ran along Red Mountain, went on the north side, and it actually crossed over to the south side right at where Vulcan statue is. And it's an incredible gift of a structure to put a trail on. And so when you walk it, you'll see it's really wide and flat, just like a railroad bed. And I will say that this is another visual of what that is, but I will say that, you know, what I've learned about this Red Rock Trail system is that every trail that we create, and yesterday was a big day, it makes hundreds more trails possible because people get the vision of where you can go once a trail is open. And so now, today, you guys can walk up there, right, from here. And you can walk over the mountain from there over to down to the Lakeshore Greenway, which gets you to Homewood and Mountain Brook, and you can walk downtown. But tomorrow, you're going to be able to walk from Green Springs, from here to Green Springs, to Red Mountain Park. And from Red Mountain Park, you're going to be able to go to Midfield and Fairfield on the Howard Line extension. And then from there, you're going to be able to go all throughout Birmingham, all throughout North Birmingham, up to our northern suburbs of Adamsville and Brookside and Graysville and Fultondale and Gardendale and Tarrant and Centerpoint, right? If you know, I wish I had a map of Birmingham. I'm sorry, I don't. From there, you can be able to go to our eastern suburbs of Leeds and Trussville and Irondale and Avondale and Lakeview, and you're gonna be able to come right back here. And so that's what we're working on. You know, and I think it's about our quality of life and our health. It's gonna help us grow our population and attract newcomers, and it's gonna help you guys want to stay in Birmingham. We always want to keep you guys here instead of going back to either where you're from or another place. And I think this trail system is a great start to doing that. So we're going to keep conserving land, and we're going to build trails with your help to create a vibrant and connected greater Birmingham and central Alabama. And some things that I would love for you to consider doing. Follow us on social media, and I put our things up there so you can do that. Every month we have WBRC6, JJ Pruitt. We do a Red Rock Tuesday, and we focus on a new trail segment. And JJ, if you know him, he is a rock star. It's so much fun to go with him. I feel like I'm with Beyonce when I'm with him, because everybody knows him, everybody likes him. He's just a lot of fun. But he hosts Red Rock Tuesday on the news at 7 a.m. And on April 3rd, we're having it right up at Vulcan Park to highlight the new Vulcan Trail. We want everybody that's able to come out there with us and be on TV and walk the trail with us that morning. So it's before classes, so get up early and come on with us, and then come to a Sunday hike. Our schedule's at our land trust, our website at freshwaterlandtrust.org. We do have some internship opportunities, and one of the things that we're working on now are trail counts. And so we have a few trail counters, and we're trying to measure the usage of all of our system trails and other trails to determine how they're being used, who's using them, and how we can help increase those numbers. And we do have use disparities in some of our trails, and we're working to fix that. One of the things that we've done is we've gotten an Adopt a Trail program funded. We're looking for community groups, especially in student groups, to adopt sections of trail. Not so much for maintenance, although that's the purpose, but really for community engagement in some of these trails. So you can talk to me more about that. But if you've got specific interests in land conservation, public health as it relates to outdoors and green space, I'd love to talk to you. And you can contact me with your specific interests and skills. That would be really helpful for us to know, what you are interested in doing, and let's talk about some internship opportunities.